recorded. Just so you know, if you have an issue with that, there's a function you can click on the video camera and it'll take your face off if that's a concern for you. And that's that. So, all right, so welcome to Move Abroad and Thrive. Today I have with us Malikah from Malikah on the Move at YouTube. We're going to post her link in the chat box. And as well, at the end of this call, I'm going to send y'all the recording and I'll send you an email with her information as well. So I'm just going to this is for you all. I'm just going to talk to her briefly for about 5 or 10 minutes, just kind of get a feedback of where she came from, what she thinks of Merida, and then I'm going to open it up for you all to talk to her directly. So you've been in Merida how long now?
I came in August.
In August, August, September, October, November, about 4 months. So what do you think about it?
Well, I came here sight unseen. I had never been to Mexico, let alone Merida. So it was a little different than what I thought it was going to be. Coming from Asia, it was very different. Very different. But I do like it. There's some things that, of course, I do not like, but you know, they're fixable. Yeah, they're fixable.
And where did you come from?
I moved here from Bangkok, Thailand. I spent in between Thailand and Merida. I spent maybe 2 months in the U.S. Just getting myself resituated to go somewhere else.
And you lived in Thailand for how long?
About almost 2 years.
Wow. Contrast. What do you like? Because I know we've talked while we were helping you find a place, and you really love staying over there in Southeast Asia.
Bangkok is like New York City, Manhattan on steroids. Like to the 10th power. It is, even though it's a juxtaposition of Uber technology and luxury, then you have the traditional and the poverty. But it is a very, very busy city that never sleeps.
Wow. So coming from a place like that to here probably was a culture shock in itself.
You know, when you go on the rooftop of a building in Thailand, because they have a lot of rooftop things, and 360 degrees as far as your eye can focus is skyscrapers.
Wow.
They're literally like boom, 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 right next to each other. And it is a hustly, like almost like Beijing or Tokyo or a city like that.
Wow. Okay. So it kind of reminds me of what, and it's probably not as big as Thailand, but Medellin, go on your rooftop, skyscrapers everywhere, because they build everything up. Very beautiful city, very modern city. So, and Kim loves Medellin in comparison to here.
Right. You know, this was a much slower life.
Very slow, very slow. I was watching one of your videos the other day. You were talking about, I guess the transition, you know, when you first got here, the way things look, the old, but now you kind of taking your opinion is starting to shift a little bit from what I saw.
Well, you know, even though Bangkok has a lot of skyscrapers, they have abandoned buildings. They have a lot of trash, just like Merida does. They have overgrown areas, you know, weeds and vegetation, just like Merida does. So that doesn't really bother me as much. You know, their sidewalks are uneven and broken up, just like here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you got to watch where you're walking. You'll break an ankle quickly. So it really doesn't bother me that much. The looks, but I do know that it bothers a lot of people.
Yeah.
But in terms of my personality and how I've evolved to find things that are more important in life to me, that aesthetic is not it, because I know that it's not always what it may seem to be.
Yes. Wow. After being here for 4 months now, what do you think of the city? Is it a place that you would feel comfortable sticking around for a year, or?
Well, I'm gonna, I'm gonna give the rest of this year out.
Uh-huh.
My lease is over in July.
Mhm.
And I think I'll give it another year. My biggest issue currently is transportation.
Okay.
Maybe that works for some people with the walkability and being located where you can walk to everything you need. But what if I don't need anything, but I just want to get away?
You want to go?
I need a vehicle. I realized that I need a vehicle. So once I have a vehicle, my perspective on Merida will change.
Wow.
Because I will have the freedom to go where I want to go. If I'm driving down the road in an Uber, I can't say, "Ooh, stop! I want to go in that store."
Yeah.
I want to stop at that restaurant and grab something, and so it opens up a whole new perspective on the city.
Because you rented a car a couple weeks ago.
I did, and oh my God, it killed me to give it back. And I actually maybe in another week and a half plan to get another one.
Wow.
So yeah, that's going to be a game changer for me. And I think personally for me, I'm really not looking to be stable at the moment.
Okay.
I don't have a reason to be.
When you say not looking to be stable, meaning
finding like a forever home.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a reason to be.
That's
it's just me. I'm single. I don't have any responsibilities, any ties, any obligations. So I can move around, and I don't really know where I want to be right now.
Nice.
But I would like to have a base.
Okay.
So once I get a car, I will explore whether Merida will be a good base for me to go to other places.
Okay.
And then come back, and I have like a home base to relax until I'm back out the door again.
It's funny you say that because we met a lady the other day who had just came back from Cozumel. And she lives in Merida, but went to Cozumel for a few weeks. She claims it's only 3 hours away. That's what she say. The maps are telling me it's 6 hours away. But she said 3 hours away, hopped the 30-minute ferry. And so that made me come home and research Cozumel. And come to find out, it's a very safe place, affordable. Quite a few expats or immigrants live there now. And so we decided that we're going to go check it out.
Okay.
Just to see. I mean, if it's as safe as they say it is and affordable, and it's, Cozumel's an island, so it's kind of off to itself. We're going to check it out and might recommend that as a
I watched the video just the other day, now that you mention it. There's a website called Mexico Relocation something, but they featured a lady who lives in Cozumel. Now, the only downside I will see to Cozumel is hurricanes. Because it's an island, it's out there, and it's down at that part where hurricanes do come in. So, because Cancun gets hit with hurricanes. So yeah, that would be the only thing, knowing that. But the thing with hurricanes, because I lived in Florida, so is they give you enough advance notice.
That's true.
So you can prepare that, okay, we got to go away for a little while.
Exactly.
Now, whether your stuff is going to be here when you get back, I don't know. But at least it's not like a tornado or something. You have notice to just leave.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. What made you decide to come from Bangkok to Merida? What made you leave and just kind of start?
Well, I really would have loved to stay in Thailand, but the reality is the distance. Maybe 5 or 6 months after I got there, I came back to the States just for a 2-week visit.
Okay.
Those flights total maybe about 30 hours of travel time, maybe 35 hours of travel time. So you factor in that exhausting trip, the time difference, because it's 12 hours ahead of us. So like if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon here on Sunday, it's 2 a.m. on Monday. So you're so confused. And then I left because there was a family emergency and I needed to drop everything and leave immediately. That's difficult when you have to buy a last minute plane ticket, or it's extremely expensive. If something happens, emotionally, you have to deal with that. You just want to get home.
Yeah.
Merida is a 2-hour flight to Dallas, and then whatever city from Dallas that you may live in, another couple of hours, 2 hours, 3-hour flight. It's simple. And then I can see family as much as I want or handle. And the good part about it is, if you have health insurance still in the States, or you have like Medicare.
Okay.
And there's something here that you don't want, you can go back home and just have your medical, situation handled before you come back. If you don't want to pay out of pocket because you still have insurance.
That's a good point. Because trying to do that from Thailand.
Exactly.
Very costly.
Exactly.
Wow. All good points. Yep. All good points. Nice. Well, I'm gonna let y'all have them. So, any of y'all got questions? Like I said, there's a little icon that looks like this in the hand. Click on that. Kim is moderating, and she will plug you all in to ask some questions. So we're starting to bump up a little bit. So go ahead, and we're all ears.
Okay, just give me a moment because the interface is a little bit different from Zoom. Let me open up the queue and let me see whose hands are all raised. Okay, just give me 1 second.
All right.
Okay, so far we have 2 people, which is Arlene Brown. And Arlene, you may go ahead with your question.
You will have to unmute yourself, Eileen. You should see, and then you can start talking.
Okay.
About that.
Okay. Okay, go ahead with your question.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Hi.
My question is, how much planning do you do ahead of time before you move from one area to the next?
For me, I'm impatient, so I don't do much. When I decided to move to Thailand, it was maybe 2 months. But I had been to Thailand before for a visit, so I will count that as research. But I had a home to sell. I sold every possession that I own: my car, my home, my furniture, clothes, everything that's contained in your home. And I did that really quickly, and I was on a plane and out. But for other people, I would recommend to write a list and figure out what is important to you, whether it's healthcare, community, the type of living situation that you want, whether you want walkability, whether you want to be in a house, an apartment, a condo, in the middle of the city, if you want to be off into a quiet suburb. And once you figure out the things that are important to you, then you can start researching the different things that city offers. And YouTube content creators are a great resource because you will find a vast variety of opinions and perspectives through YouTube creators. But also don't just use YouTube. People do written blogs. You'll find things like on Travelocity. Even go into different statistics that are done, like a census type statistic of the crime, the population, the income levels of different countries. So you can kind of get an idea, read the news, find some of their local news and read some of their news. I just found out that Merida is no longer number 1 or number 2 in the safest city in Mexico. We are now number 4.
Really?
Yes. Is it Guadalajara?
Okay.
Has taken over as number 1.
Wow.
And that's I always recommend if there's a lot of expats, somebody has done a English newsletter or newspaper or website. Go read the news. They'll rehash everything that's going on in that city that you're thinking about, whether it's, new things that are happening, or even if it's crime. They will rehash things so that you can get a better perspective of what's going on in that city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for that. Next we have is Greta Cobb. You may proceed.
She's on mute still.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think she's trying to figure
Okay,
it
can you
out.
hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can. You can go ahead.
Awesome.
Hi, Greta.
First, hi, Malikah. How are you, my dear? Hi,
Fine, hi.
Cortez.
Hey,
First,
how you doing?
Cortez, I want to thank you. I'm so grateful for you being here, for providing this. I'm grateful that you're doing well. And it's because of you, I want to say thank you for posting all the information, even with the ups and downs, and even what you just experienced, because it was that information that caused Malikah to present critical documents.
Yes.
And I've been researching YouTube content. I'm not saying it's not out there, but this came up first, and I appreciated you doing that. And I think I responded to you saying, is that something, this is something that should be in all of the travel packets, because how critical it is, and how it could be, what would you say, income for someone just to be a consultant to provide those papers for someone and share with them, I guess in the packet, move abroad packet, you can have those critical documents attached. And, I'm just thinking of different ways that it can be provided because it's critical. And I wanted to come on and just say thank you for that. So thank you to Cortez. Thank you, Malikah.
You're welcome. Let me give you an update on that, Greta.
Okay, great.
One of the people here in Merida responded on my comments and said that September is typically the month here in Mexico that notaries and attorneys significantly discount their rates because it's known as will month.
Ooh.
So now September is quite a ways away, but for people that aren't coming right away, just so they'll know, it's designated as will month. And that's when they really push for people to get all their affairs legally handled and written down, their wishes, and they significantly discount their prices.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
You're
And then
welcome.
lastly, I wanted to say, this is not a question. Thank you again, Malikah.
You're
You
welcome.
give great historical content.
Thank you.
I went to one of your videos. I think I looked at it 3 or 4 times. The one on Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't taught in school.
Okay.
That was great. That's why I kept looking at it, because it was something I think it's necessary for us to learn other cultures, and that other cultures suffer too. And it was great to have a perspective.
Was it the War Museum?
It was.
I went to the War Museum.
Killing Fields, I think.
Oh, that was Cambodia. Yes.
Cambodia. Yes.
Yes.
Woo! That was deep,
Yeah,
because
it
when
was
I turned it on, I had to turn it off because I wasn't ready for it. It was triggering. Then I prepared myself and say, okay, let me hear what she has to say about this. That was a powerful video.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
thank you, Kim, for recording Cortez the other day. You all are precious. Thank you. That's all I had to say.
You're welcome. And that was our daughter Sky, actually.
Oh, thank you,
Recorded
Sky.
her dad. Yeah, it was Sky. I had no idea that she was recording. Otherwise, I would have told her to turn it off because it's too personal.
Yeah. But it helped. I believe it helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It helped a lot of people. I appreciate you all being so transparent for us. Thank you again.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You have a good evening. We appreciate you. Okay, so next we have is Taylor Wicks. You may unmute and proceed with your question.
Hello, it's me, my wife, and we have three babies. We're wondering what are some ways you know to get residency out there or to extend your visa? Like, what's the easiest way to get in Thailand? What's the easiest way to get your visa extended for longer than a year? And what are ways you know to get residency?
Okay, so in a nutshell, Thailand does not do residency ever. I take that back. They do about 100 people a year. And it's very, very difficult. You can be in Thailand 20 years. They're not going to give you residency unless you have invested a lot of money into the country. When I went to Thailand, I purchased what is called an elite visa. It's still good till 2027. I purchased the 5-year visa. It's a significant cost. But the problem is that it doesn't matter which visa you're under, whether it's a marriage visa, a retirement visa, a digital nomad visa, an elite visa. The problem with Thailand is you still have to report to immigration every 90 days. It doesn't matter if you've been there, like I said, 10 years. Every 90 days for 10 years, you're going to go to immigration or at least report online when the website works, that you're in the country. They love to have you visit. They don't necessarily want you to stay there unless you are investing money into their economy, meaning you've opened up a business and you're employing a lot of Thai people. So for a family, if you're over there, say maybe you're teaching, and so you're sponsored by an employer that has brought you over, they may be willing to sponsor your family as well on the visa, and that would be a way. They do have education visas, even though they're kind of doing away with that because people abuse them. And they're usually good for a year, but now they're actually making you prove that whatever you're going to school for, that you're actually learning something like the Thai language or Muay Thai. I think there may be even one for cooking. But the visa situation can be difficult. Now, the retirement visa in Thailand, you have to put the equivalent of, I think it's maybe $28,000 in the bank, and it has to sit there. It gains no interest, and you are not allowed to touch it. And every year you have to certify that that money is in the bank, or they will revoke your visa. And you have to be over 50. Even the digital nomad visa, I think the minimum income that they want to know that you make is like $80,000 a year. So it's not easy to stay in Thailand for most people.
Okay, that was really helpful. I really appreciate that. I was honestly thinking about going the route of throwing on some gloves and learn some Muay Thai and fight out there to get a visa through that.
Okay. And then, like I said, they do have a Muay Thai visa. I don't know how it would work for companions, children, whether they can be piggybacked off your visa or not. I'm not sure.
Well, that was very helpful. I learned a lot from that, just one exchange. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Bless you. Thank you.
And before you hop to the next person, Kim, somebody asked about residency for Vietnam. Are you familiar with their process by chance?
No, I'm not. I think Vietnam makes it a little bit easier for expats for visas, but I'm still not sure. You have to understand a lot of countries, most all countries, when you look into residency, are going to want to have minimum income because they want you to be able to sustain yourself while you're in their country. And then some may even want you to deposit some money, like Thailand, in a bank and just let it sit there so they're, or invest some money. Like in Malaysia, there was a program where you can get 10-year residency visa if you bought it, and it didn't cost that much. However, they raised the price. A lot of those Asian countries are about money. If you have money, they love you to death. They really are tired of the expats coming over there on low Social Security and putting no money back into the economy other than going to get $1.50 bowl of pad thai and $1 beer, and that's their day. They want people with higher net worth to come to those countries and invest.
Wow. Are Thai people racist? Was a question Taylor posted.
Well, I don't want to make a sweeping generalization, but I will say a lot of countries in Asia prefer lighter skin. They feel that it's better, but in a different way than some other countries would. For instance, the US. Typically, the darker skinned Thais are farmers. They work out in the fields. So the lighter skinned Thais are usually the pampered ones who work in the office, or maybe they don't work at all. So it's a financial status thing. So you'll find that most of them want to appear light because that means they have a better life. I will say that if you're Black and African, they tend to look down on you more than Black American, only because a lot of Africans go over there and cause trouble, drug trafficking, people trafficking, romance scams, and things like that. So they kind of made a bad name for themselves in Thailand. But for the most part, I don't know too many occasions of, people experiencing any racial tensions or anything like that. No.
Any other questions? Did you have any?
Okay, so let's just keep the order going. And if you guys have any questions, please raise your hand, okay? And we can keep the order going and make it fair for the others who have been waiting. Now we have next is Dr. Tijuana. Can you please go ahead with your question?
Hi, I wanted to ask about your approach to housing. When you identify an area, do you go Airbnb first, or do you go hotel, or is it location specific? And then how much time do you give yourself in those kind of housing options before you move to rent?
Okay. So before I came here, I contacted Cortez and let him know I wanted to use his services. I did go into an Airbnb for 7 days.
Yeah.
And then we went out during those 7 days and we start looking. Now, this to me is personality specific, okay? Because I don't like a whole lot of choices. I like to get things done and over with so I can move in and get settled. So that first day that we went out,
House, I think.
the second house we looked at, I was like, this is it.
I don't need to see anymore.
And he
done.
asked me, do you want to go tomorrow? Maybe we can find some other houses. Look, nope.
Okay.
I got to check out the Airbnb on Wednesday. I want to be in here, and that was like 2 days later, 3 days later. I was ready to go, but that's just my personality. I would say if you're the type of person that likes to take your time, really wants to explore different areas, probably you may want to come on a scouting trip before you actually make that move, so that you have an opportunity to really explore different neighborhoods to see if everything fits for you, what you're looking for.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have is Heather. Heather, you may go ahead with your question.
Thanks, Kim. Hi, Malikah. Hi, Cortez.
Hey,
Malikah, I follow you, and I've done a lot of planning and a lot of research. But when I checked out your important documents thing, I hadn't really put a lot of thought into that. So when I get there in March and move into that cute little apartment Cortez found me in Progresso, the first thing I'm do is I'm going to go to a lawyer to get that done. So, and by the way, I really appreciate your walking videos, because you actually take time to show the store that you're going into. And I love that kind of detail.
Thank you.
I did You're welcome. I did want to add two things to the folks who haven't talked to Cortez about finding a place. I said I'm a planner. I pinned down my apartment in December because Cortez went and inspected it for me. So, because I like to know where I'm going. If you're able to, I did a scouting trip. I figured out where I didn't want to be. I knew what I wanted, and I gave him that list, and he found me a place really quickly. So that's an option. But the other thing I wanted to put out there, I don't know if you guys follow Stephanie Perry. I'm like Malika in the sense that I want to travel, but I want a home base and I want to do slow travel. So what I did was I get there in March and August and September, I'm house sitting in England and I'm going to go to Scotland and then I'm going to come back to Mexico. So there's a lot of options for having the home base and going out in the world without spending a huge amount of money. I just wanted to put it out there and thank you to you guys again because you made my transition so much easier. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Heather, before you click off, Kim, you know, we found her beautiful house, right? I think 2 blocks from the beach. Great price, great deal. And you also came out here on a scouting trip, you know, which is something Malika just mentioned. So she came out here before, spent how long were you here for, Heather? About 2 weeks, I believe.
I spent a week in San Miguel and 2 weeks there. And then when I was there, I made an appointment with my doctors. I went to the grocery store. I actually took the bus. You know, I did all the things that I knew I would want to do. And I knew that I could find the things I wanted. And that's how come I was able to say, okay, Cortez, I want the beach. You took me out there and I found where I wanted to be. And it worked out really well. It really does take some planning so you don't get there and get yourself in an apartment and you absolutely hate it and you have to stay there for a year.
Exactly.
That's one thing that I really liked about his service because he can tell you, yeah, this looks like a very nice area, but there's certain pockets that are problems, whether it's internet connectivity, whether it's flooding because everything floods in a sense, but flooding that doesn't go down for days, or insect problems or noise problems, or, you know, he has that knowledge. And that's what I like so much about using his service is that he's knowledgeable on the nuances of different areas that maybe a realtor would not tell you. Or they just want to win a house. They want to make that commission so they can move on to the next customer. But he definitely knows these little ins and outs, and he definitely will share them for you. And you know that he's looking out for your best interest because he's not gaining, you know, he's not looking to gain some type of benefit from that.
Exactly. And Cortez, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but so people have an idea, because Cortez shows you a lot of places. Folks, I got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2 blocks from the beach, within walking distance of downtown Progreso, 30 minutes up the road to Merida, all utilities, including internet, for $11.26.
Great.
Insane.
It's doable.
And they have a pool in the back of the property as well. I think a washing machine and dryer, I believe. I can't remember if it had a dryer.
It has a washing machine, yes.
A washing machine, and I mean, she got a steal and 2 blocks from the beach. You know what I mean? So wow. Well, definitely, I appreciate both of y'all's kind words. I appreciate that. And, you know, like they say, you know, that scouting trip, you know, come and plan, particularly if it's your first time ever leaving the country. A lot of people that reach out to me, they've never left the U.S. You know, I don't recommend you just show up blindly. You know, come out on a scouting trip. You know, now if you've been doing this for a while, that's different. But if it's your first time, please take your time.
Most definitely. That does play a big part, whether or not you are an experienced person. And I don't mean you spent 4 days in another country 5 years ago. I mean, an experienced traveler who has spent significant amount of time in a very, very different culture than your own,
Absolutely.
with a different language.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. I'll hand it back over to you, Kim.
Okay, so next we have is Sugar Baby Face. You may go ahead with your
I
question.
like your name.
Sugar Baby
Sugar
Face.
Baby Face.
Hi,
You
that's
can-
good
okay,
evening.
go ahead. I'm
everyone.
sorry. Good evening.
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's a nickname from my older brother when I was a kid.
Okay.
I had a question about, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for having this tonight. I had a question about Morocco. I was wondering if you can tell me what it is, what it's like to live there. Any pointers, any information?
I don't know about living in Morocco, but I can tell you from living in another North African country for a few
Okay.
months. You know, they're very male-centric cultures. Okay, so you're kind of, and you're kind of like, you know, you need to be at home, not out in the streets. Most of the women, you see more males out and about. You don't really see a lot of women, and when you do, you know, they're usually running an errand. They're not just out, you know, shopping. It depends on what area, but very male-centric culture. So of course, you want to keep that in mind. Also, the food is awesome. Very hot, just like Merida, but just a wonderful, very kind people, very helpful. You do find, you know, just like in Thailand, just like in Mexico, you have the hustlers who are going to charge you for everything. They're going to try to, you know, change the price on things. I mean, that's a normal thing when traveling. But yes, Morocco is a very male-centric culture. So if you know, and the way you dress, some women feel like, well, I don't need to dress modest, but I dress however I want to dress. But in those type of countries, yes, please, thank you. You're going to have to make sure that you dress very modestly because it's going to draw you a lot of unwanted attention because Morocco is a Muslim country.
Right, and I don't have a problem with that. What I was wondering though, if I'm might be going on a shopping trip, and I was wondering about shipping things, like purchasing and having them shipped for me. Do you know anything about that? If that's safe? If that's
I like stupidly, okay, I bought 2 carpets. You know, that's one of the big things over there is getting you in a carpet store and selling you some carpets, handmade carpets. So I bought 2 carpets and I had them shipped, and they made it maybe about 2 months later, and the customs fees and everything, import fees were included in the price. So I don't think that you should have too much of a problem.
okay. I was wondering about that because
If you're buying bigger things, like if you're buying clothes and stuff, no, don't ship that stuff. But if you're going over there like to get carpets, or if you're buying like those beautiful lamps and things that they have, yeah, by all means, the shopkeepers, if you're in a reputable shop, they will ship them, and the shipping is pretty reliable.
okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay, does anyone have any other questions? Raise your hand. And next we have is Iris. So Iris, you may go ahead with your question.
Yes, I wanted to know, it's Malikah, is it?
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Nice to meet you. So you mentioned that Merida is number 4 now. So who are the top 1, 2, and 3? Are you aware of the states?
I think it's Guadalajara is number 1. I don't know what 2 and 3 is.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be perfectly honest and transparent. That's what my channel personally is all about.
Okay.
The reason Merida has dropped, like I said, there's always going to be an English language for some expat that has been in the country for a long time, is going to make sure that they do an English language newsletter, news site, so that people will know what's going on. So I think it's called Mexico Daily is one. And then there's Yucatan, Yucatan something, maybe Yucatan Daily. But the reason is because of the increase in drug trafficking here. But allegedly, the police are on top of it, of course, because, okay, so here's the theory with the cartels here in Merida. Why isn't there the crime problem like other states have? And there's two theories. One is, the more popular theory is that Merida is a sanctuary city. It is where people send their parents, the elderly parents, to be safe. People send their children to come here to go to school, to go to, high school, middle school, college, to live with a relative, to be safe. So it's kind of like a neutral ground where there's some type of agreement between different major cartels in Mexico that this is a place you don't mess with. You don't mess with the people there. This is like their safe space. But there has been incidences, they said, of a little increase in drug dealing, drug trafficking. I think it was in Mexico Daily's article, or Yucatan Today, that's what it's called, where they talked about how they gave the numbers of all the drug busts that they made in Centro, or in different parts of the Yucatan, even in Concal. So they're on top of it, but that's one of the reasons why our numbers have went down the list of safe places. Oh, okay. Hey,
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions? If you guys have any questions, you can click on the little hand at the bottom and you can raise your hand.
And check that chat box to make sure everybody brought it.
Somebody asked, if I leave Mexico, what other countries are considering to live in? When I left Thailand, I really wanted to go to Istanbul. I want to live in Istanbul, but it's just too far. So.
Okay, so right now, no one else let's see, these rankings are in terms of what most, expects for safety. I think you guys have already answered that question.
Yeah.
Did anyone else have any other questions? If so, you may raise your hand. Okay, Cortez and Malikah, I think you guys can go ahead and move forward. No one has any questions right now.
Okay, so let me jump in. So listen, so if y'all have questions, I think there's about 50 people on. If you have questions, this is a great time to ask. Normally, I know for myself, we charge, money for telephone consultations. So this is free. So feel free to ask whatever you like, get your questions asked. So get your questions asked, and while we're here, take advantage of the resources. Malikah has been all over the place. I've only been to 3 little countries, compared to your laundry list of places.
And that's not even a lot to me.
Really?
I had a goal of like 50 countries, and I still got a long way to go. So.
Wow. So home base, you plan to not just hop around Mexico, but other parts of the world as well.
Oh yeah, Mexico. If I make this a home base, Mexico can wait because it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
So I think Argentina, Peru, Ecuador, Chile, those are places that Brazil, some more. I want to go to Bogota. I've been to Cartagena, but I want to go to Bogota, Medellin. So yeah, I need to hit all those places.
Let me ask you this: what has traveling? And so you travel, so a lot of these places you by yourself. How do you feel? Because a lot of people, and I'm asking this because I get a lot of messages from single folks, men and women, just saying, well, I don't like to go by myself. You know, can you talk to that some?
Okay, so I mean, there's plenty memes out there on Facebook and Instagram that talk about if you wait on family and friends, you will never go anywhere. Or, you know, it's 30 people in the trip when you first plan it, and then by the time you get ready to leave, it's only 2 left because everybody else backed out. If you don't take the initiative to travel on your own, maybe you may not go anywhere, you know, if you're waiting on someone else. And as a solo traveler, you're more capable than what you think you are, but you got to put yourself out there. You have to get over that initial fear. Now, every time I go to a new country, I still have fear.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm just, you know, cocky and I got this.
Yeah.
No, I'm still afraid because it's a different place. It's new. I don't know what to expect. But my desire to see that place and go is greater than that fear.
Love it.
So I'm going to push through that. And I'm not going to say that I haven't had, you know, moments where I'm overwhelmed or, I've never been brought to tears, but because I've read some people have, you know, cried but yeah, I've booked horrible hotels that I've had to move out at the middle of the night, or I've been in some situations that I didn't feel were too safe, but I made it out and I was, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, the good thing about solo travel is you do not have to cater to anyone else. You get up when you want, you go where you want. You don't have a shadow tagging behind you saying, well, I don't want to eat that. Well, can we go here? I'm tired. It's time. It's just, no, you don't have to worry about that. Do you however you want to do it. And what I will say about traveling, period, is push yourself outside of your comfort zone and do things that you normally wouldn't do. Even if you go to a touristy place, like if it's an activity or a tour that you can go on that you normally wouldn't do those type of things, do it. You'll be surprised. I have some of the most wonderful experiences doing things that I never would have thought to do,
Like,
or wouldn't choose to do.
Such as
Well, the motorcycle tours in Vietnam, those were, I mean, 10 hours on a motorcycle for $50.
wow.
Okay, through to waterfalls, to where I sat and ate crickets and drank this funky rice wine that was made like in a bathtub, and you know, and drank poop coffee, and you know, just wild. And then even in Morocco. So that's another thing. Insert yourself into a situation. Be outgoing, because either somebody's going to tell you off, or they're going to accept you and interact with you. If they tell you off, you're in another country. You'll never see these people again. Don't get your feelings hurt. But I came out of my Riyadh, which is like a traditional Moroccan home, and I was going to go, it was like in the Medina, which is the little walled part of the city, and it's all like alleyways, like a maze. And so you go, I was going to get some chips at this little vendor. And down at the base of the Riyadh was about 8 guys. I'm gonna find this photo. There was about 8 guys, maybe 25 or somewhere around that age. And they were cooking and listening to Tupac. And then they were smoking hashish, right? But me being greedy, I was like, what y'all cooking? Because it smells so good. So they lifted the lid and they showed me. And then I was like, can I have some? And they were like, sure. And then so they made the one guy get out of the plastic chair and told me to sit down. And I hung out with these guys. It was like 8 of them in the alley. We talked about who was the best rapper, Biggie or Tupac.
Biggie hand down.
I ate that food that was on a makeshift propane grill with a screen on it, and then the pot on top. And I'm telling you, that food was so good.
Oh, wow.
And one guy, he could speak English, several of them. One guy told me that he wrote poetry and he recited his poetry. we talked about the state of young people in Morocco, you know, why it's so hard for them to find jobs, or the economic situation. And it was just a wonderful evening because I inserted myself into, they could have been like, no, go away. Okay, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But they invited me in because I asked, and I had a wonderful night.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
you know, you have to kind of go out of your comfort zone and do things that maybe you normally wouldn't do if it's safe, you know, and the same thing goes for solo travel. Don't wait on family and friends. If they don't want to go, go. Start off small if you're afraid. You know, maybe go to Dominican Republic or Aruba or something like that before you go all the way around, you know, the world, unless you're really adventurous, then go for it. My first solo trip was Colombia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, 'cause the fear, like I said, a lot of people have the fear of going places and just going by themselves. And, you know, even now, you know, I still have that fear, because right now I'm very comfortable in Merida. And I know when we went to the airport for our daughter's wedding this past November, we decided to drive to Cancun. And being in Merida for 2 years, you know, I was like, man, I never drove that far out. And so I was scared. I was nervous. But, you know, all the data suggested that it was going to be a safe route. So even I still get nervous. You know, we're talking about going to check out Cozumel, but I still have my little butterflies in my stomach. You know what I mean? So that's normal. That's natural. Don't let that, you know, turn you away. Just continue to push through, get out of that comfort zone, as Malikah's saying. You know, stand in that comfort zone, man. Playing it safe all the time. You know, you're not going to get out there and enjoy these experiences. You know, and I like what she said about, you know, she walked up to these guys and was like, man, what you cooking? Can I get some of that? You know, and it happens all over the world. I know when we were in Colombia, I would just be walking and listening to the GPS, and the GPS is talking back to me in English. So as I'm walking past people, you know, they realize I'm not from there. And because me being black in Colombia, you blend in, because there's a lot of black Colombians there that look exactly like us. And so, sure, yeah.
I don't know if they can see that.
See if y'all can see this picture. I'm trying to get the angle right. Is it showing? Are y'all able to see that? But yeah, as we were walking by, you know, people were stopping us and inviting us into their house. They would say, "Where are you from?" And it's like, "It's the United States." And they would invite us into the house for coffee. They didn't speak English. I didn't speak Spanish, but we all tried to use the Translate app, and serving us coffee and just trying to have a conversation, you know what I mean? So like she said, trying to search yourself into what's happening, get involved. And most people, and this applies to people all over the world, most people are friendly and welcoming, and, you know, will welcome the opportunity to share, you know, their life and show their country. So I'm gonna hand it back off to you.
Okay, next we have is Lenore. Go ahead with your question.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hey.
Cortez and Malikah. Cortez asked the first part of my question, but I do have another part. But man, hats off to you. Just all that traveling as a woman and a solo. I mean, that's like, I want to be you.
You can.
So, I am a planner. I have been watching Cortez. I watch you. I watch a whole bunch of other people, and I want to check Meta out. And the other part of my question was, what do you suggest? Like, I think one of my fears is coming into the airport. Now, I know I've heard or read, I'm sure one of y'all have said it, that Uber can't come into the airport. I think they said you'd have to go and hit one of the main streets. But what do you suggest when you come into Merida, as far as a ride or taxi, whatever? And do you suggest Airbnb, hotel? I mean, just kind of, I guess, about that. If you're coming to Merida for the first time, just kind of check it out. See if I'm coming for like a week to just kind of, you know, check it out.
Well, they have stands that you can get a taxi.
Okay.
I always, wherever I go, I count that as a, how could I put it, a necessary ripoff.
Yeah.
I have to get out the airport and get to where I have to go. So I already know they're going to overcharge me because I'm a foreigner. They know that. And I kind of factor that in to just chalk it up to what it is. At least do some research. Okay. So you don't got too bad. Do some research as to what a normal price would be in pesos. Okay. And convert that into US dollars so you'll know approximately how much that is. And so when they throw that number out at you and tell you, okay, well, it's going to be 1,000 pesos, you know, that's like $50. No. Okay. But then you can say, that ain't right. I'll give you X amount of dollars. Most of the time, most services are negotiable. Some of them are not going to budge. And even if you know, especially in Asia, or in like Morocco, the thing is you walk away so they can come back and get you. So maybe they'll say, okay, come on, I'll take you for this price. But yeah, I kind of chalk some of that airport stuff up to just a necessary ripoff. Personality really is the difference between Airbnb and hotel. I personally, it doesn't matter to me, but this time I got an Airbnb because I think because of the area that I was in and because of the duration. So if you're staying for a week, that may, if you want to be more comfortable, have more space, have it more home-like, maybe you might want to cook something or have a bigger refrigerator, for snacks and drinks, then Airbnb probably would be a better option. A hotel is going to have a small refrigerator, and 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be that cold. So,
okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next week. Okay.
We lost your audio, Kim.
Okay, there it is. Taylor, you can go ahead with your question.
I see you guys were talking to my husband earlier, but so I just said, well, we just celebrated 2 years here in Merida this week, and I have come to the conclusion that Merida is just not it. I don't really care for it. It's much more expensive than what I thought it was going to be. And I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. So I'm really, go in the room, son. So I'm really looking for a place that is more economical, where we can actually save and be comfortable and be settled down. And so I was wondering, between both you, Malikah, and even Cortez, because I was curious about your time in Colombia, where would you guys say is a good place for a young family to just kind of be settled and also see some savings somewhere? Because I really haven't seen a savings in my 2 years in Mexico.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of misguided, I think, that Merida is just dirt cheap. It's cheaper, but it's not dirt cheap. Especially if you have to establish a home, if you get somewhere that's not furnished, just buying necessary items, cookware, towels, sheets, that stuff adds up.
It adds up pretty quick.
It really does.
Pretty quick. You know what? The thing about finding these bigger savings here in Merida, because Merida is growing so fast. I went down to this new park they just built, La Plancha. Have you been down there?
No, I passed
it. Oh my God, that place is stunning. And and I'm starting to see why the costs are going up significantly here in Merida. Now where are you all staying at right now?
We're in Zitya.
Okay, all right. And that's a pretty fast or rapidly growing part of town. So cost of living is kind of high out there, and is increasing. To really see these savings here, you will have to essentially live in other parts of Merida where the tourists and expats and foreigners tend not to live. And they're there. Kim and I drove out to another city called Motul, which is about 15 minutes north of here. Very nice. Matter of fact, we're going back. We'll grab you when we go.
Good, because I heard that's a culinary destination.
Yes.
It's supposed to be really famous for food.
Yes, it's nice and it's very, very affordable out there. But a lot of people, unfortunately, when they come to Merida, they tend to kind of navigate to the areas where other foreigners and are staying, and so naturally the costs are much higher. But Colombia is definitely cheaper than Mexico, particularly depending on what part of Colombia. Now, if you're going to Medellin, it's going to be a little expensive. There's a city that we stayed called Ibagué. That's spelled I-B-A-G-U-E, Ibagué. You can find 3-bedroom condos, fully furnished, utilities included, for like $350, $400 a month, brand new. So you can definitely see some savings there. Ibagué, Manizales, Colombia, those two cities. Manizales is going to be a little bit more expensive, but Ibagué, it's a small town. It's a sleepy town. There's not a lot of activity going on, but if you're looking for a place to save some money and family oriented, that would be it. Any other suggestions on places in terms of cheap, safe?
Vietnam.
I keep hearing about Vietnam.
I love Vietnam. It's one of those places, when you get off a plane and you just feel like you belong there.
Mhm.
I just had that feeling like I just love Vietnam.
My brother, he was there, and he was like, man, if I could stay.
Yep.
And I keep hearing the costs are so cheap.
Much cheaper than Thailand.
Even cheaper.
Thailand is cheap. So, and Vietnam is cheaper.
Good.
And the food is healthier than Thailand.
Really?
In Vietnam, lots of fresh vegetables. They do a lot more vegetables with their food, and it's not all that Thailand cooks a lot of stuff in oil with woks and stuff.
Uh-huh.
They do healthier food.
Wow. So is going out as far as Vietnam, is that an option for you all?
Absolutely. There's no place that's off the table.
Of course, we'll go anywhere as long as it's safe.
Well, I keep hearing about how cheap Vietnam is.
Vietnam is safe.
Yeah.
It's safe. I've been to Vietnam, I think 5 times.
How do the Vietnamese treat Black people?
As I said before, the Asians, if you're Black African, they kind of look at you, from an African country, they kind of look at you funny because they have a bad reputation for criminal activity in different countries.
Black American as an African.
Yeah, American, totally different story. They welcome you. And actually, they treat you a lot better because compared to the Russian population, the British population, and the Australian population, we're well better behaved and spend more money. So they tend to like us better.
Are there specific cities that you'd recommend our situation to look into in Vietnam?
Well, if you like water, DaNang, that's down, by the water. That would be like living in Miami or something. If you like the mountains, DaLat, which is a lot cooler during the year, and it's more like a Swiss ski resort type town. If you want a little more hustle and bustle, Hanoi, which is the capital, is more like maybe New York. I didn't particularly care for Ho Chi Minh, which is Saigon. I don't know. I didn't like it, but a lot of expats are in Hanoi.
Okay.
And then, like I said, if you want a slower paced life, then DaNang for the water and DaLat for the mountains.
Do they have a burning season as well, Thailand? I'm sorry, I won't ask anymore.
Thailand has a burning season, yes, but also so does Malaysia, Cambodia. And so if Thailand's not burning and choking you to death, then the other countries will come your way, Myanmar as well.
Oh, wow. So all the countries in that region do
Yeah,
that.
they burn for the farming, you know, rather than cut all of that stuff down, they just set it on fire.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have is about Vera. I'm sorry, I hope I did not mispronounce your name, but you may go ahead with your question.
Hi, my name is Val. Hello, everyone. Happy belated birthday to Ms. Malikah.
Thank you.
I have a question, and I think I have an answer for Ms. Lenore. I was just there in December. I took a cab out of the airport, and it was the one I chose. It was two options. The one I chose was 450 pesos. I think it was like $25, and I went from the airport to Francisco de Montejo, like in the north. So I thought that was pretty reasonable. And Malikah, a question to you. Hi, Cortez. I got a chance to text with you. Who didn't have enough time because it was during the holiday. But I'll be back sometime in March. I did when I was there in December and January. It was exploratory. But my question to you, Malikah, is a lot of expats, you know, before I came to Mexico, I went over for my 60th birthday in September to Ghana. And that was very, you know, tiresome. I had a couple connections. Outside of that, the infrastructure. And I know you travel a lot and you've been in Morocco. So what are your take on that area, Ghana, Kenya?
Well, I haven't had a chance to make it to that side. I've been to Morocco and the Sudan, which that was a while ago and there was no infrastructure. But there's a lot of people that have went to Ghana. I just saw a YouTube video of a lady who built a wonderful, beautiful home in Ghana, but still, I think they're up and coming, developing on infrastructure. Now, Uganda, wonderful country. I think it was like voted one of the cleanest countries in the world.
Really?
For a while. Yeah, and it's very modern. There's a lot of modern countries in Africa. Senegal, they speak French, and that's only a 7-hour flight from New York. If you stay in Dakar, which is the capital, and it's by the water, and it's wonderful. You know, it's a lot of expats there, mostly French, because the French speak French, and then I think Wolof they speak. But that's another option too. And those countries usually have very liberal visa policies for expats, and much cheaper.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. I'm gonna look in this chat to see if there are some questions there. Hello, if you could expand on how you make a living. That's from Marseille.
I am retired. I am retired military. I don't make a living. I was a nurse after the military, so yeah, I'm done with that. And you know, it is what it is. Retirement.
Awesome. Eliza asks, is the Progresso area generally cheaper, and is there a Walmart in the area? There is not a Walmart in the immediate area of Progresso. There is a bodega, which is owned by Walmart, so it's like a mini Walmart. Get some electronics there. You can buy groceries there, some clothes, et cetera, et cetera. There are a couple of grocery stores like a Soriana and a Super Aki. And Progresso You know, typically houses by the beach tend to be more expensive, but there are some pockets in Progresso where it's very affordable. So of course, the closer to the beach you are, the more it's going to cost. You start getting down 3, 4, 5 blocks down the road, it starts to get a little cheaper. Now, once you get down to Progresso, when you go west or you go east, I mean, it's just beach towns all up and down that road. You know, there's Chicxulub, there's Chilim, there's Telchac, and they just go for miles, just a whole bunch of towns, probably 10, 15 beach towns along east side. So some of those towns tend to be a little cheaper. Chicxulub would be cheaper than Progresso, and so on and so on.
Because Progresso, you have to remember, that's where the cruise ships come.
Exactly.
So yeah, the prices are going to be a little bit higher, and so I just read something, they talk about ramping up the amount of ships that they're going to be coming in. So of course, anything that has a lot of tourists come off in one big lump, they're going to have those prices up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so if the beach town is somewhere you want to, you know, if the place you definitely want to live, you know, definitely consider exploring further down the different routes from the east to the west to check out those towns.
And then isn't there another one a little further on the other side of it's Ahihik? Yes, there's a whole lot of towns along that Gulf of Mexico border, on the side of the Yucatan Peninsula. It's not the Yucatan, but there's a town where there's a lot of expats, Lake Chapala, and Ahihik.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of expats.
Absolutely.
More so European expats, but yeah.
Canadians, a lot of Canadians. So yeah. Is Malikah bilingual or multilingual?
Not at all. I know a little bit. Okay, before I go to a country, I learn how to say, where's the bathroom, help, hello, goodbye, thank you, how much does this cost, you know, things like that. And that's pretty much, and I know that in many languages, but that's pretty much my extent of another language.
Yeah. And can you talk to that a little more? How has your limited Spanish, have it limited you? Is it what's the word I'm trying to look for?
It hasn't stopped anything. I can tell you
what,
that.
Yeah.
No, because you play charades, point, do whatever you need to do. And this was before I even started using. I just recently started using Google Translate.
Wow.
Because, like, for instance, in Thailand, you really not gonna learn their language.
Yeah.
And their Google Translate in Thailand, their letter structure is nothing but like these squiggles. So Google Translate is crazy. Like if you say something, who knows what it'll come out as. So you kind of have to really learn how to do things with your hands and basically charades. But no, I make it fine. I'm learning. One of the tips that I was given by a Mexican, and I put it in one of my videos, he said, you need to learn Spanish like a child, one word at a time. Not worry about the sentence structure and the verbs and the masculine and the feminine. But like if a kid wants water, they don't say, can I have some water? They just say water or wawa.
Yeah, true.
Or, you know, up. You know, so if you learn just a word here and there, eventually you'll learn how to put them together.
Exactly. And like you say, a lot of charades. I know Robert and I were in the pharmacy, and he was trying to buy some toilet paper, and then we were going back and forth for 5 minutes. We didn't have no data on our phone, and so all of a sudden he just turned around,
like wipe his butt, right?
And everybody just fell out.
Do some charades. Be like, oh, I got a headache, or my throat hurt, or my nose stopped. Do whatever you need to do.
Absolutely.
They'll figure it out. They're very patient.
Yeah, and it's funny. Everybody get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah.
I think London, you are up next. Unmute yourself and fire away.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Kim, Cortez, and Malika. How are you guys?
Hi.
How you doing?
Awesome. I just wanted to say thank you all for dropping these constant gems. I definitely appreciate it. And just keep up the good work.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Jump there. Where we're at. Let me jump back to
Sugar Baby, what's it? Sugar Baby Face. They did have their hand raised, but I don't see it. So they still have a question. You can go ahead and jump in and just ask your question.
Okay, thanks. I was just wondering about purchasing land. Do you know anything about that, Cortez?
I don't. We're still, him and I, we've been looking, and so we're still very new in that, still kind of learning our way around it. The few people that we have spoken to, landowners, most of them have been very flexible and willing to, accept 10% down payments and leasing out the land. Well, not leasing it out, but paying it off over 2, 3, 4, 5 year periods of time. As we continue to get deeper and deeper, and especially once we find something that we like and want to buy, we'll have more to add to that. I will be interviewing a real estate person as well as a real estate lawyer soon. And hopefully they'll be able to add to that and give more accurate information than I can.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just read, because I Googled it, actually, I wanted to know. Like, as far as the US dollar peso projection. And for people that are thinking about coming to Merida, maybe thinking about purchasing property or buying land, the projections from all of the economists here in Mexico, plus the major banking sector, has projected that the so-called, what we were in this past year, the super peso, is going to go away. And the end of 2024, some people are projecting that we're going to close at like 19-1. Some people are projecting a little less, that it would be no less than 17-18, but that's still a lot better than what we're doing now.
Yes.
And so, you might want to keep that in mind if you're making large purchases. Financially, keep an eye on what the peso is doing, because in June or July, Mexico is having their big presidential election. So all of that is going to factor into what their money is doing, as well as our election as well, and the immigration policies.
Good point.
So all of that's going to factor into your money.
Perfect. Yeah. But like she said, if you're gonna be making a big purchase, I mean, those savings will make
drastic. A couple points on the interest. I mean, on the conversion rates.
Exactly. It means a lot.
Cortez, there's a question in the comment. They're asking about the phone services when you're traveling to other countries.
This one. What phone service or how do you keep your phone communication traveling to Asia or other countries? What services do you use?
I have T-Mobile, and I still have T-Mobile. So I carry 2 phones. This is my Mexican phone, only because when I bought a new iPhone, I just had my old one. So I have a Mexican SIM card in here, but I have a US SIM card in my T-Mobile phone. And they have a plan that I think it's maybe 50 countries that you get unlimited text and internet and something else. Talk is maybe, I think, 20 cents a minute or a quarter a minute. But what a lot of people do, if you have an extra phone, because it has to be paid for, when you go to another country, right in the airport, as soon as you come through immigration and customs, there will be booths everywhere, pretty much every country you go to, where you can buy a local SIM card with so many minutes, and that way you can make phone calls in the city. And that's actually recommended, even if you do have a Verizon or T-Mobile phone that says you can use it abroad, I still will get a local SIM card. The SIM card that I have, and I think you probably use the same thing, is like 200 pesos a month.
Yeah.
Or 300 pesos a month for 3 gigabytes or something like that of data. So yeah, I definitely would just pick a SIM card up and just make sure you have a paid for phone.
Absolutely. And the 200 pesos is approximately $11 a month. And 300 pesos about $15 to $17 a month. Unlimited calls within Mexico, unlimited calls to the United States. As Malikah said, about 3 gigabytes of data. Doesn't sound like a lot. However, the plans also include unlimited use of Facebook. So you can watch all the videos on Facebook. It doesn't count against your data. Unlimited use of WhatsApp, unlimited use of Snapchat, and a few other apps.
And it covers phone calls to US and Canada.
Exactly. And as well as texting included in that as well. So it's rarely ever that I ever go over my 3 gigabytes of data. I probably only gone over it once or twice because I was unaware that I was looking at YouTube videos and just forgot.
And they're easy to recharge and get extra minutes in OXXO, which is like 7-Eleven or Circle K. Well, there's Circle K and 7-Elevens here too. You can go inside and just up your plan right at the counter. Some of the grocery stores have it as well. If you need to get a booster on your plan.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and also too, I can recommend also downloading DD app, and you can also do it that way as well. So you don't have to go to the store, and you don't have to try communicating to them what you want. So that's a lot easier. And on those calls too, you can also call and use Facebook Messenger as well. So that's another way too that you can contact your family and stay in touch.
Let me tell you, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people find out the hard way. I did. You cannot use a foreign credit card on DD or Rappi. Remember, I told you when you get here, they won't take US credit cards. So what I tried to do was buy a prepaid card, but the prepaid cards here are only sold to Mexicans or people with a temporary residency card.
Okay.
So that was an issue, but Hugo bought a card for me.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I just kept recharging it after that. But yeah, I had a hard time when I first got here ordering some food. Would not. I tried Apple Pay. Now maybe it works with the Apple Card. I don't know, but with a US credit card, it was not.
Yeah,
I haven't had any issues.
Yeah, I think it's new. I think it's new because I noticed.
Because even though I Googled it and it said the same thing. Maybe it's dependent on your credit card company. Maybe they'll kick it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is because I noticed new people that have been coming here and we've been trying to help them set up their Rappi account. For whatever reason, they won't accept the
credit card. Yeah,
and I've had that 4 times with the last 4 set of people, and I couldn't figure out why. So that probably is it, because there was no explanation for it.
Exactly. It just will not take it.
It wouldn't take. So that might be something new for new accounts.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Alicia says Wise cards work for Rappi. Okay, that's good to know.
Good.
That's good.
So people can get a Wise card before they leave the US.
Exactly. Exactly. Definitely do that.
And somebody just told me Apple Card works for Rappi.
Apple Card works.
Apple Credit.
Yeah.
Apple.
Yes.
Perfect.
Because I had my my debit card, my credit card, and my Apple all connected to it, so I hadn't had any issues. But just like you said, it could be something new that's going on.
Yeah. Dr. Tijuana says, what date was that again for the projected improved exchange rate for dollar to peso?
Well, when they made their projection, when they made that announcement, they based it on what they suspect that the year will end at the end of 2024. So they don't necessarily say, I think I did see something that said maybe towards the middle, it will start improving right around the election time. Remember I said the election is in June or July for their president, to where, you know, that will determine how that's going to go.
Mhm.
So, because it's something to do with the peso's strength, the trade or something, and some type of energy. That's it, the energy thing.
Hmm.
So one candidate wants to keep everything the same, and one candidate wants to make drastic changes. So that's going to determine how things are going to go. So I would look for probably whether it's going to increase significantly or whatnot, probably around the middle of the year, around summertime.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Before you jump to the questions, I'm going to answer this comment from Mary. Mary, how you doing? I got your email this morning. We're looking forward to meeting you in person in March. Mary asked, how does life in some of the cities south of Merida compare as far as housing? I haven't done a lot of exploring down in the southern part. I've done some basic, found a place for one person. I tend to spend more of my efforts primarily in the northeast, northwest, and the west side of town more so. But a quality of life can definitely be had in the south. There's going to be some pockets. Again, it's all about pockets and just really going out there, taking a look at those areas, you know, and budget wise and all of that stuff. But plenty, not a lot of people, but quite a few people do live in the south. You generally get a lot more for your money and a lot more space and whatnot. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah. Okay, like for instance, the Los Heroes area. Right now, if you were to look in that area, you probably need a car.
Yes, absolutely.
There's two new malls coming to Merida in 2024, and they're both going to be in that Los Heroes area.
Wow.
So they will have a lot more options as far as shopping, as well as that Ba-e-bin bus, the big blue bus.
Yeah.
That bus now has routes to Los Heroes
There's
area.
a lot of people that live over there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So they know that that area is growing. They're starting to put more things and have more accessibility to that area. So maybe not right away, but probably south, you know, maybe 4, 5, 6 months, maybe a totally different option for you.
Option. And they got a brand new hospital in Los Heroes as well.
Okay, yeah.
Quite big, very new. We were out there and was impressed with that. So yeah, so what you just said, I mean, the bus transportation, 2 new malls, that could be a game changer for that area. And it's very affordable in that area as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we have Sugar Baby Face again. You can go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on the last question I asked about land. Do you know if I purchase land or lease land or what have you, can I park an RV on it? Or if not, are there any RV parks in the area?
I haven't seen any. Cortez will probably be the better person to answer that question, but you always got to think that if you purchase land, you're going to have to do some type of electricity hookups and water hookups and, you know, all that stuff with your RV. How would you do that?
Oh yeah, I know that. I'm just wondering if in the meantime, while I'm building, before I build, can I
park any RVs? I don't think that's popular here.
Yeah, I haven't seen any RVs. However, ironically, a couple of weeks ago, we met up with a guy who builds shipping containers.
I saw that video
on land. So, I mean, if he came down here with an RV or drove one down here, because I honestly haven't seen any or anybody.
I saw one. I've seen one.
Did you?
When we lived in Montebello, the house that was around the corner from us, they had one and it was parked outside.
Okay.
That is the very own, that is just one.
Yeah. Now, I will
that
go
I
out
see
on a limb
here.
and say, if you do have one or are able to find one, Mexico is pretty liberal with their laws
Yeah.
on whatever you want to do on your property, you can do
It's
whatever
yours.
you want. Nobody's going to say anything to you. So I don't see that it would be an issue to put an RV on your property.
Okay. Do you have like a ballpark idea of cost for like maybe an acre?
Depends on the area. I mean,
And how much you have to develop it, whether it is services, gas
Yeah.
already piped through, sewer service pipe, or whether you have to develop that on your own.
exactly. Exactly. So it depends on quite a few factors, but I've seen some land, as little as like $5,000 US dollars, what it equates to. So, in more populated areas or more popular areas, of course, you'll spend more. More rural areas, it'll tend to be significantly less. Like where we're at outside of the perimeter of Merida, things tend to be cheaper. Land inside of the perimeter around Merida, within the perimeter, is going to be a little bit more expensive. So I've seen it as low as 5,000 US dollars for maybe an acre. And I've seen it as high as, $15,000 to $20,000 and up from that. So it depends on location.
Okay. Well, that's helpful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, Heather, you're next. You can go ahead.
Thanks. Just following along with the gigabyte question and the phone question. Is 3 gigs sufficient to not run out of Google Maps while you're traveling?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm on that plan, 200 pesos for 3 gigs, and I'm driving and taking people around using GPS literally all days, 5 days a week.
And you're going to get a text message from the company if you are about to run out of your minutes. So remember what I said, it's easy to stop in an OXXO or wherever. Or if you do have Rappi or whatever, just up your minutes, add another 100 gigabytes or something.
Exactly.
It's not an issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes once you get the initial SIM card installed on your phone, you can go directly to the Telcel website, and oftentimes they have like a promotion where they give you 50% more. So when you buy the 200 gigs, instead of getting 3 gigs, they give you 4.5 gigs. So they run that promotion on a regular basis. Yeah. But 3 gigs is more than enough. Like I say, I use it 5 days a week. I'm using GPS all day, taking folks around, and I don't run out.
Perfect. That's exactly what I needed to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay, Val, you're next. You can go ahead with your question.
Such a rev. I was looking at her picture.
Val, you can go ahead.
Barbary, unmute yourself.
Val.
Okay, she may not be available. You guys can go ahead and move forward.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
My screen was sticking. As far as rental car, what are the criterias? And you guys, in your rental car process, were you doing it on local agencies within the cities or at the airport? And what is a fair price?
Okay, I just rented from a local company. They are located in Centro. I didn't know that at first because I had them drop the car off at my home. They asked for a credit card. They put a deposit of maybe 3,250 pesos or something, which is about $150.
Okay.
The price was $850 a day because I only did 3 days. Of course, he said if I did a week, it would go down to like 800 pesos. So that was the whole rental for 3 days was about $150.
Okay.
The car was an automatic. He said if I chose a stick shift, it would be cheaper. It was a Nissan March, which is equivalent to what is like a Nissan March in the States? No, Maxima is way bigger than that.
Nissan Sentra.
The Sentra is bigger than that.
No.
It was like a Chevy Spark, I would say.
Okay, like a Chevy Spark or something. One of them little itty bitty cars.
Okay.
What about
the thing that kind of got me about the rental, and I think this is typical from a lot of rental companies, is they give you full coverage insurance, but your deductible was 10% of the value of the car.
Wow.
Brand new. So if that car, I think he said it was like $25,000 equivalent US, my deductible was like $2,500. And that though is only for that vehicle. Like if you hit someone, the person that you hit vehicle is covered 100%, but that's to reimburse them for the price of the vehicle you're driving, the damage or whatever. And just make sure that when you rent a car and you're checking the outside of the car, always check underneath it, because they're going to check. And you will see damage. And he showed me, he said, I know what you're looking for. He said, if you were to see that damage, you're going to see it along that bottom edge, like where you get out and you'll put your foot on the, like usually where the logo of the car is, you'll put your foot there, because you'll have people that'll hit those topes, which are speed bumps, and tear up the bottom of the car. So they're always going to check that to make sure you didn't tear up the bottom of the car. Some of the topes, they're regular speed bumps, but then a lot of them, which serve as their crosswalks, go up like this, and then they're flat across, and they're pretty high. So if you hit those and you're not paying attention or not looking, or because there's sometimes no sign to let you know that they're coming, and you don't have a car in front of you to see that they're slowing down, you could hit that sucker and you will just total underneath that car, bust the oil pan and everything.
Oh my God, I'm gonna stick with the Uber.
Yeah, I've done that. I mean, I was scared to get out the car to go look. I'll tip around and look real slow and just hope I didn't tear.
I didn't hit one of those kind. I hit one of the just regular speed bump kind. I didn't. Oh Lord, I didn't hit them other ones though. But yeah, I hit the speed bump kind. So it was just a wee thing, But yeah, but driving here is not bad at all. The main headaches are the roundabouts. If you're a timid driver, that's going to be a problem for you. If you're an aggressive driver and you're like, you're going to let me in, you'll be fine. Go around that roundabout, because everybody is doing their own thing. And then when you get on the Periferico, I kept missing my exit, so I had to keep going round and round and round until it was like, okay, this is the one. But it's the roundabouts, and there's so many. It's like you go through one, go up a little bit, go through another one, go up a little. It's like, oh my goodness.
Okay, thanks for that. My next question. So you just mentioned earlier you were thinking of Merida being a home base. Is that based on the fact that you mentioned that the locals send their parents there, their elderly parents there, it's a little safer, and as well as the healthcare, or that has nothing to do with it?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was done.
I like the safety of Merida, but I know that sometimes, okay, so what we do as expats, why places are so much more less stress, and people feel more at ease when they go to other countries, is because we check out mentally.
Yeah.
We're not worried about who's running for president, what the election is, what they're doing in the school. We're not worried about none of the problems that we would worry about on a day-to-day basis in the US. We just here making it from day to day. And so we don't have those stresses. But at the same time, if you stop and you read the news, you'll see, yeah, there's some crime. You know, yeah, there's some protests or, you know, discord. And so I don't fool myself as though this is like Shangri-La and everything is, you know, perfect, because it's not. But safety is one. Healthcare, yes and no. I do like, my main thing is probably the proximity to the US, that I can be back on US soil in 2 hours for a flight. So yeah, I think that's my biggest thing.
Okay, thank you.
That's a big one. I just posted a car rental in the comments. Louisa, yes, absolutely. And Malika's about to put in another one here. Hand you this keyboard here. Louisa, man, she's awesome. I love this lady, man. You know, as Malika mentioned, most of these guys, they will bring the car to you, whether it's to your Airbnb or whether it's to your hotel. They'll bring it to you, and then when you're done, they'll come pick it up. If you need to go to the airport, you just tell them, say, hey, I'm flying out on this day. Can you pick the car up at the airport? Meet me at the airport, and they'll come meet you at the airport and pick up the car. A lot of these places, like in the airport, they will charge you an outrageous deposit.
Somebody was telling me 50,000 US dollars.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You know, so
I didn't hit enter.
I'd stay out of the airport. In terms of renting cars, they generally will gouge you. So you know, the one that I just posted, Malika just posted one.
The one I rented from.
The one that she rented from. And the rates tend to be better, of course, if you're doing it like for a week versus 1 or 2 days. And the rates tend to be better if you do a monthly. And you know, and they're still expensive, but these rates tend to be a lot cheaper than what you would get out of the airport. I know my lady, Louisa, she doesn't charge a deposit up front. She'll only charge a deposit if you have an accident. And that's it. And so definitely shop around. Michael says she brought it to the airport for us, and she met us at the airport. It was very smooth, highly recommended. So yeah, he used the same lady as well. Just book her in advance via WhatsApp. You definitely talk to her through WhatsApp. Just send her a message. All of these guys, send them a message through WhatsApp, and they'll get back to you. Let's see here.
Okay, London has a question. Go ahead, London, with your question. You have to unmute.
Hit the unmute button.
I'm sorry.
How you doing?
Hey, so mine is a little bit more of a statement. Just a little bit of help, because I don't think people stress enough that it doesn't matter how much you plan, whether you are moving here, Texas, Ireland. There are going to be so many unforeseens. I cannot stress that enough, just to give yourself grace to know that there are going to be things that you cannot plan for.
Whether everything up front, you can't know everything.
Correct. And I think that's the misperceived notion that people come in with so many, including myself, with all this, like all these expectations, and it's just unrealistic. I'm just going to be 100 about it times 10. It is so unrealistic to think that you can come here and it's going to be like all roses and sunshine, because it is not.
Or all figured out and be smooth sailing. No, you are going to pull your hair out for something as simple as, how do I get water delivered to the house? What day do the water guys come? How much do those jugs cost?
Yes.
They're overcharging me. What day is trash day?
Yeah.
Right. You are going to be ready. There's been times that I have been close to tears because it was one thing right after the other But
Thanks.
once you stick it out, get past it. But yeah, you're gonna have those headaches.
And it's okay not to put the pressure on yourself that is, it has to be my everything. It can be your just right now. It's okay. You don't have to put the extra pressure on yourself to, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm sticking to, and this is what it's got to be. And if it's not checking off this box and that box, oh well, I just got to suffer in silence. No. But Cortez couldn't have put it any better. I remember one of his videos, he said, if you can just stay put, that's the best thing for you. I mean, he cannot. I say that was epic. It really was, just to stay put as long as you possibly can, and give yourself a chance to get acclimated, because the reality is if you're running back and forth, it's going to be hard mentally. If even with your body, let's talk about that. You might plan everything might be in a row, and then all of a sudden, because bodies are just that, they're just the body. And then something happens, and then you're like, wait a minute, I didn't plan on this. Now you got to deal with the hospitals and the nurses and the doctors. And let me be clear, they do what they're supposed to do. I mean, I've had a couple of run-ins here recently that I did not expect, but when I say they heard me and they saw me, I cannot stress that enough, because I feel like so many women, especially women of color, I feel like are neglected when it comes to the health system. So to be in front of somebody and they say, okay, well, this is what I'm seeing, or okay, well, wait a minute, I want to get some more testing so I can get a full picture, rather than here's a pill. So that was huge. But what were you going to say, Cortez?
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, because, a lot of people do, when you listen to a lot of these YouTube videos and listen to people, they generally share all the positive experiences, all the good stuff, and very few share the bad stuff, and not necessarily bad, just the unexpected.
Right, the adjustments.
The
There are things that you do not think about that are sometimes really small, like there's different greenery here, vegetation. So are you going to have allergies? Do you already have allergies? And how are you going to react to the difference in the vegetation here? Maybe you're going to sneeze more. Maybe you're going to have sinus issues more. The food.
Yeah.
How's the food going to sit on your stomach? Are you going to, you have to get that adjustment period. There's a lot of little itty bitty things. If the water is hard, are you going to have a problem with skin itching or dry skin issues? Just little things that you can't plan for, but will be a challenge.
Or hair issues, because my hair got hard as a brick.
Yeah, because
because of the water. Yeah, because of the water.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I know her situation. She's had a lot of unexpected emergencies. She's been sick quite a few times, and had to go to the hospital a few times. And she's like, Cortez, I got a fever. I'm feeling this way, and I'm like, hey, I'll come take you to the hospital. Let's go. And I bring one of my kids to translate. And many times the doctors already speak English. And like she said, she was seen. They found stuff that, she wasn't going in for that, but they uncovered other things just through testing, because they just generally care. You know what I mean? And, and she's still adjusting. London is adjusting, trying to find her place, trying to find her path. And, and she's here by herself now. And, she misses home, misses family, and, should I go back? Should I stay? And, and it's like, hey, stay put, sit tight, because there's a lot of frustrations that she had, you know what I mean? A lot of unknowns that she's run into. So it's like, hey, Lunt, sit tight, ride it out, because if you leave, you ain't going to come back. And if you leave and don't come back, you're going to miss it. You know what I mean? And so, I'm happy to see that she stuck it through, because she's had some serious challenges. And, it seemed like everything had come for her, but she's riding it out. She's sticking it through. And just saying that, I'm glad you brought this stuff up, because, a lot of people, I see a lot of people come as soon as the first line of trouble come, they're back on the plane and they're going back home and they just miss it. You know what I mean? So,
1 year, in my opinion, is too short.
I would agree.
I think that at least 2 years, okay? Even unless it's something that's, involving your mental health, your physical safety, or your financial picture. If it's these little small things, let that pass. 1 year is an adjustment period to see, how things go. Once you start getting an idea of how to move, that second year will tell you whether or not you want to be here longer than the 2 years. But I think 1 year is too short.
Yeah.
It's an adjustment period.
I would find when we hit our 1 year mark, and I was so excited. And when we got to 6 months, I was like, oh, we figuring things out. We getting in our groove. But when the year came, it was like it just keeps getting better. And then 18 months, and it was like, well, I just didn't think it could even get better than it was in a year. And now we're going into our third year, to what Malikah was saying about that 2 year mark. In 2 years, you really start to just really find your stride. And now it's like, we'll be 3 years in June. It's like, I'm very comfortable. I'm very confident. I know a whole lot more now than I did just a year ago. I mean, it just gets better.
And strange things to us as Americans become commonplace. Now it's nothing to put your toilet paper in the can.
Exactly.
That's normal. You don't even think about it. When you first get here, you be like, oh, that's weird, but that becomes normal.
Very normal.
And getting your water and not doing certain things with tap water, like cooking with it or whatnot. You just learn these, and it becomes second nature the longer you're here.
Very second
And
nature.
makes it an easier transition.
It does. 'Cause I know even my kids, I look at them, because here in Mexico, it's like they don't know personal space. They will be all up on you. And so the other day we were in the store, and my daughter Charlie, she was right up on somebody. And me and my other kids were pointing. It was like, Charlie has become local. She's a Mexican now. She has really assimilated to the culture because she's all up on the, like, Charlie, back up off of the man. And she looks like, oh, I didn't, so it's, 2-3 years, man, that's when you start to find your stride. You know what I mean? You're comfortable, you're confident, and it just gets better, So, so thanks for bringing that up, London. So I what she said, y'all gonna have some surprises when you get here. So expect that. It's not going to go. Everything is not going to go smooth. You can't plan
I had a
enough.
tarantula, so I never expected that. Okay, that to me that was like the coup de grace of the pièce de résistance. When I look and I see a tarantula, so yeah.
Wow.
I figure if I can handle that, I can handle
anything. I almost moved out I was like, man, I saw that big one in my house the first time when I first got here. I was like, we're leaving, but. It gets better, but expect surprises, expect unknowns, and just expect to be frustrated. Frustration day is real
and ready to go.
And
ready like, oh no, I'm not dealing with this. Let it pass.
Exactly.
Sit with it. Let it pass. Yep.
Okay. Next we have is Andrea Montgomery. You can go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you. I was enjoying that conversation so much, I kind of forgot I had raised my hand. So, but anyway, good evening, Malikah, Cortez, and everyone. I'm having such a good time listening to this, but one of my main concerns is I'm nearing retirement age, and I could actually retire, I guess, in a year or so. Long story, but I already kind of retired already from the government, then I started doing something else. And so now I could retire, just not old enough to get into my 401k yet without telling all my business. But anyway, but my main thing is I have grandchildren and they're young still. And obviously I have kids too, but my main thing is my grands and the thought of not being able to, like giving up my home and being somewhere else permanently and just coming home and not having a home here is kind of just, I don't know. I just can't imagine it. And I just wonder how, I mean, how did you make the decision, Malikah, just to sell your house and start traveling for 5 years? And then you say you want to make a permanent home there in Mexico and maybe travel other places there. And I wondered why you didn't want to just do that from here.
Well, it was easy for me to sell my house. I've owned 5 of them. So people in my family be like, "You crazy. You just bought that house." I don't care. It's not, I was never attached to houses. Okay. I've always been attached to the money that I make when I sell it. So it was, you know, every house that I've had has always been more than what I needed or not designed to my needs. Now, if I were to go build a house according to my actual real lifestyle, meaning, you know, this house that I just bought has a formal living room. I don't have formal guests, or I don't even use the dining room table. I sit at the island. So I have all this space I don't need. So it was so easy to get rid of that. I know from losing parents that I much rather would leave my children money or some form of financial investment as opposed to property as far as generational wealth. So, you know, it wasn't hard for me to get rid of that house. Coming to, I don't think that I'll ever own a house again, to be perfectly honest. I hope one day, I've been single long enough, I hope one day to get married and maybe he has a house or maybe he'll buy the house. I don't really want a house. I don't want the responsibilities of a home. As a matter of fact, the only reason I'm renting a home here as opposed to an apartment is because I like my privacy. And I kind of feel like I took a step backwards, you know, because I have responsibilities, even though it's not my home. You know, the grass has to be cut, you have to have a gardener, you have to have an exterminator, the pool has to be cared for. I got more house to clean, you know, there's a lot of responsibilities with that. So when it comes to you know, I don't know your situation. I don't know how long you've been in your home. You know, if selling your home would be a bad financial decision. Like I said, I've had home after home after home, and 2 years here, 4 years there, 3. I'm not keeping it a long time. I'm not paying no 30-year mortgage. So it wasn't a big deal to get rid of it because there was it was only one house, two houses that were real attachments for me. You know, one is because I bought my childhood home, and the other, I bought a bank-owned property and did one of those totally gut and re-put it back together. So those were like more harder to get rid of. But the rest of that, it's just a house, as far as I'm concerned. I hope I answered your question, what you were asking me.
Can I just say something really quickly? I think it's just really a mindset, because a lot of times people just become slaves to just stuff, and it's just stuff.
That's right.
And, you know, and just think about it. You spend all this money and you're working just to be in debt and just be in bondage.
Yep.
And, you know, when you die, you can't take the stuff with you. So you just really have to put it in perspective and just ask yourself, like, what's important to you? Do you want to be free?
Yep.
And, you know, not be a slave to just stuff, and just live your life and just do the things that you want to do, you know, because when we first started traveling, I think it was about 8 years ago, we lived in a house. It was over 10,000 square feet, and we had a lot of expensive items. And even during that time, I'm just like, man, this is just stuff. It's just stuff. And so you just have to just make that decision, what is important to you?
I will say that not once have I sat and thought, man, those used to be some really nice chairs I had. Or that paint color that I put on that wall and that wall treatment was, you know, everything. I don't think about that. That's all, you know, material stuff, but I do think about the travel memories that I've had. And I literally liquidated my life down to one Rubbermaid tote with photographs and papers, a file box, and a small safe. That is all I own. And I feel free. Other than the little furniture I had to buy living here. But if I leave Merida, I'm giving all that away or selling it and packing my suitcases and go. But I feel free because I'm not weighed down with the material things that have no benefit. You know, I used to sit in my living room and watch a movie, and I'd look over on the table and be like, why do I have that little ceramic squirrel on the table? Like, what is this purpose? What is it doing for me? And I'd go to Home Goods and I'm like, oh, this rock is pretty. This vase is pretty. It would go in this corner. Or I need something in that corner because it's empty. That's a trap. And I understand some people find joy in decking their homes out, but for me, that is not where I found joy. And somebody said to me once, she said, you know what, Malikah? She said, your home is beautiful. It looks like a magazine. She said, but it doesn't look like there's no life here because everything is like almost perfectly curated, but it doesn't look lived in. You know, it's just like a showpiece.
Showroom, yeah.
Like a showroom or a showpiece. You know, it looks like something that you would walk in a furniture store and see a setup. And I thought about that. And I'm like, and none of this means anything to me.
Wow.
It's just stuff. I would rather much have the experiences that still warm my heart to this day and bring me joy when I think about even a little interaction I had 8 years ago in another country with a stranger that I can still remember.
Those guys in Morocco.
Right. It just makes me feel good.
Exactly.
Not the picture that I had in the house before on the wall, you know. No, I don't think about that.
And I mean, just the story you shared about those guys from Morocco, it got me excited, and I'm sure it got them excited, the people that are watching. You know, I mean, that story is priceless. You know what I mean?
It is.
And that's just from up hearing it, let alone we didn't get the experience.
And that was just one of many wonderful experiences. I have one, I'm not going to tell it because it makes me cry every time. And this happened in 1994.
Wow.
And I will cry crocodile tears when I talk about it because it touches my heart that much. I made a video about it. Actually, it's from the video Is Merida Ugly?
Okay.
If you go back and watch it, it's a little boy, some actually children, but the little boy in particular in Africa.
Wow. Wow.
And I will never forget that. That is worth more than, I don't care what kind of house, what kind of car, any of that.
Wow. Wow. And, you know, and I'll add to what Kim and Malikah have said.
Put some comments up. Somebody wants to see what somebody
I'm going to add to that, you know, one of the things I used to do, I used to buy a lot of antique furniture from auctions, and I would buy and resell it. And I would go to estate sales, and estate sales are, you know, kids have gotten together to sell the parents' house and all of the stuff in the house after the parent had died. And so, and what I found is, and I visited a lot of estate sales. Kids don't want your stuff. They don't want
the house.
They don't want the house.
If your child is not financially capable, once you leave them a house, say even if the house is paid for, they still have to pay the property taxes, or they'll come take it away.
They can take it away.
That's an extra burden. The upkeep, you gotta cut the grass, whatever you gotta do until they decide whether they're gonna sell the house, rent it out, or whatever. Your child may not want that house, but I can tell you, when my mother died, what I really appreciated,
the money,
that cash.
Yeah. So the kids,
that she had an investment.
They don't want the house. I've seen it time. I've been doing these estate sales and going to these auctions for about 10 years. And time after time, the kids don't want the house. They don't want like the property taxes, the upkeep. They live in other states.
Exactly.
They're not trying to come back. My mom got a big, beautiful house in Georgia. And she was like, well, we built this dream house for you and your brother. And we're like, that's your dream house. I don't want that.
Then you
house.
have siblings fighting over whether I don't want to sell it. I want to sell it.
Exactly.
I want the money. No.
Yeah.
Talk to a financial planner and have them give you advice on the best way you can leave your child liquid assets.
Yeah.
That way they can do whatever they want to do when you're gone, whether you do annuities or, IRAs, things that you can pass on to them. That property stuff is overrated.
Yeah, they really do not want it. My mom, like I say, beautiful home on all this.
She's on 10 acres.
For me, it's like I live in Mexico. I ain't trying to go back to Georgia to be living up over there. I'm like,
And you still would have to go back to settle affairs.
Exactly.
And that may take time, a month or two. You got to spend over there when your family needs you here.
Exactly.
Your business needs you here.
And my brother don't want it. And, so that's in our own head that we think that we're leaving them something. But if we're like Malikah said, it's a burden really on them, and we found that, it was hard for us to get rid of all that stuff we had in the house. I ordered
at first.
Yeah, the first time when we started traveling, I ordered these 3 big giant dumpsters. They brought it to the house. And so we sold everything, and what we couldn't sell, we gave it away, and what we couldn't give away, we threw it all in the dumpster. And they just hauled all the stuff away. And it was like, and as we were selling the stuff, we realized it was like, man, we've been dragging this stuff from house to house for 20 years, just lugging it around with us. And a lot of this stuff we hadn't even opened in 10 years. You know what I mean? But once we got rid of it the first time, it was like a burden lifted off of you.
It was liberating.
And so when we started moving, like when we moved here, it was like everybody get one suitcase. Put whatever you want in your one suitcase.
All they got in the
that's all they got.
I had 7.
But we're able to, like you said, we can free to go and bounce. If we want to go to Cape Town, South Africa, we all get our one suitcase and go. And generally, in the previous house we were in Montes de Arme, we bought furniture. And we're strategically now, because we're not attached to stuff, we'll buy used stuff, used furniture on Facebook Marketplace so that way we're not buying all this brand new stuff and then losing money when we sell it. But when we buy it, we're trying to buy all this used stuff. And that way we can get most of the money back when we sell it a year or two later, so we can bounce. But right now we don't have no attachments. Nothing is keeping us back. We're not indebted to stuff or paying all this. We can just go on a whim, tomorrow. And kids and Kim have been living with me. We liable to wake up tomorrow morning and say, hey, we're going to go start a pig farm in Ghana and just go. You know what I mean? And so that's delivered. That's one of the benefits. So don't let that hold you down. You know what I mean?
And because wealth, they do talk about, property being a good source of wealth, but there's so many other options nowadays.
Absolutely.
That it just really depends on what you really want.
Absolutely.
What you really want. Now, some people may want to keep a house because they're like, hey, I might not like it overseas.
Exactly.
And I want to have somewhere that I'm comfortable and familiar with to go back to.
Mm-hmm.
So
weigh all of that.
Weigh all of the options. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next we have is Iris. I know I saw her next, so you can go ahead with your question.
So I wanted to, thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
So I wanted to ask a question about driving there, right? I have and maybe not to Merida, but just to Mexico, period. Like I have my vehicles paid for, and I was just wondering, is it easier to drive there and then like switch everything over, I guess in Mexico, or is there a time period? Like say, do I have 6 months to 9 months? to switch my registration, all that other kind of stuff? And or is it just better to sell the car because of course it's paid for, it's older? No. Give me some thoughts
If
here.
it's gonna make it to Mexico, you said it's older. If it's gonna make it to Mexico, I would bring it. I regret not having a vehicle, but it just, wouldn't have worked out to keep mine because mine was paid for as well, and it wasn't older. But you can bring, like, if you're gonna move here, are you planning on doing a temporary residency?
So currently I have it. I have to come back in May to finish it.
Okay.
No, I have it, but I have to come back in May for that, to renew it. Yeah,
Okay.
to renew it.
So while you're on your temporary residency, you are able to have a U.S. tagged vehicle. Your temporary residency is for 4 years before you flip to a permanent. So when you're in permanent residency, you cannot. So you would have some time in order to flip it into Mexican tags and whatnot. If you maintain a home or even an address in the US where you can renew your stickers, and then have them sent to you, or if you go back and just pick it up, or however that goes, you can keep that US plate and just renew your sticker, back home. If you don't have an address that you can use as a US residency address, or like a friend or a family member that you can use their address, they have services that I think they're in Arizona where they will be your residence. It's like a business that does that for you, and they'll mail you plates and they'll mail you stickers. They'll register your car for you in the state of Arizona so that you can still have your US plates. But yeah, when you flip to permanent, you have to switch over to Mexican stuff. But I have heard, I don't know if Robert has, because he drove down here, right?
Yeah, he drove.
I've heard that when you have US plates, you kind of tend to get stopped a little bit more.
Yeah.
Than people with Mexican tags. That might be an issue for you. I don't know. I know somebody else that got stopped. They have US plated tags too. And I think she said that she thinks that's the reason why they stopped her, because of her US. Just, because even though the cops here in the Yucatan are better than other states in Mexico, there's still some that want you to grease that palm. So,
I was just trying to figure out, I mean, like I said, it's an older car and I can probably be better off selling it. But
the mechanics here are really good. Like, you'll see some old cars here. And what's really popular here is those old school punch bugs. See them everywhere in Funchal or in Merida. And so the mechanics here are very skilled.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question earlier about bringing a foreign vehicle here. So I know that they have a Mercedes dealer. I don't know. Have I seen a BMW? Yeah, I've seen a BMW. So I've seen BMWs. I haven't seen a BMW dealer. That's not to say they don't have one, but I do know they have a Mercedes dealer. They have an Infinity dealer. So push come to shove, if you have to go to the dealership and get your car worked on. But I'm sure there are probably some local mechanic shops that are proficient in working on foreign vehicles as well.
So would you, so now I'm even thinking, like, to even get a more newer vehicle.
You can't, you'll have to have your car paid for. You're not gonna be able to bring it here unpaid for.
Oh, no, it'll be paid for.
Oh, okay.
I would just like purchase something like an SUV. Where I can bring my little items that I still hold on to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would definitely say for most people, if you are able to, you have a vehicle and you're able to drive to Mexico, you can make that drive. I would do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I know that there's a program with the Mexico relocation where they have persons who would drive your car or something. I don't know, but I heard a couple of people have driven there. A couple of females have driven to Mexico.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you. That's one of my, that helps me out.
Okay. We had London up her hand. I think I accidentally removed her hand. So London, if you still have a question, you can go ahead. Is she on here? I don't see her. Okay, I don't see London. Okay, Deborah White, you may move forward with your question.
Hit the unmute button.
Okay, I see London. Hold on one second. London, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Sorry. Yes, I did. Super sorry.
Okay, good. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so lastly, I just wanted to add another add-on to my my chapter is I would always recommend to please contact Cortez for his services, because I wasted so much money when I first came here thinking I could do it on my own. Not saying that people cannot. I'm not saying they cannot do it on their own. But you're going to spend a lot of money trying to. That I can guarantee you. Whether it's in Airbnb for 3 weeks, we stayed at the Hilton for 3 weeks, we stayed at the Residence Inn, I mean, for weeks, all that cost. And then I had 2 pets, so you have to pay pet fees. But yeah, do keep in mind, I would just, if I could tell everybody on here, please utilize his services. I mean, down to, I remember I had a realtor that I found one home. He showed me one home. And then the next time he was like, okay, I need money now. So I was like, whoa. So I reached out to Cortez because I don't know, right? I'm like, hey, do you pay the realtors? And he was like, no way. So it was like, that was another one that had I paid him, then it would have been more money I was paying out. So my advice would be 110% utilize his services. He will find you a place. I would say I was one of his tougher clients. But
the money's worth. Don't find a house in one day like I did.
yeah, I did not.
Made you
I
work
did,
a little harder.
oh, I did. It was some it was a lot of work, but he was patient with me. He even said, I'm gonna have to pull the big guns out for you because
Yeah, she was a little bougie. This was a bougie one right here. She loved the finer things in life.
And I want to say I love my place. When I moved in here, it was literally 6 months old. So obviously there were going to be some problems, like, because it hadn't really been lived in, like water issues and water pressure and flooding. But I would say the landlord was amazing and he went above and beyond to take care of me. So I have no complaints in that way. But I would definitely say I would say save. If you can, avoid doing it on your own. It'll be less the headache and more of the help at the end of the day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And and I know sometimes my prices are a little high. It's the little things that you get with it. I generally, one of the things I try to do is I connect my people with other people that I think they'll connect well with. So that way when they get here, they're not alone. Because oftentimes people come here, they stay to themselves, they stay in their house, they don't get out because they're kind of scared to go out or just don't want to do it alone, and they get nervous and they stay in the house. Now they're bored. 3 months later, they're like, I'm leaving. So I generally try and connect you with other people that I think you will mesh well with. Any events or activities that are going on or places that we're going, I generally try and invite you out to. You get sick, like London, if you get sick, I'm going to come get you. I'm going to take you to the hospital. I'm going to take you to the doctor. We're going to figure it out.
And even getting set up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When it was time for me to go into my house, he took me to Walmart so that I can go buy, I needed everything, trash cans, pillows, dishes. He took me to Walmart. He took me to Costco. So I can get my televisions and some pots and pans and different things I couldn't find at Walmart. So it's not like he leaves you hanging and just like, okay, I got my money, you found a place, talk to you later.
Exactly.
No, that's not who he is. I'm not gonna lie, yeah, his prices are high. But like I said, don't find a place the first day like I did, unless that's just what you want. Get your money's worth. But he's a good guy. He's knowledgeable, and his services to me are invaluable because he has a lot of resources. Okay, I know a guy for this. I know somebody for that. You want what? I know somebody for this. That can really get you situated. And he, you know, I mean, I still send you WhatsApp messages now to this day. So, I mean, you know, if you know him, you know him. And if y'all are cool with each other, then you have a friend for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she lives literally 3 minutes down the road. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we're going to Costco today. You need a ride, and we'll, you know, come scoop her up, and you know, and you know, like I say, I'm gonna take care of you. There's a lot of guys out there, and you know, other ladies that you know they way cheaper, $500, but once they're done with the transaction, they're done.
And a Mexican realtor is going to take you to the most expensive things they think they can get off on you because they get their commission from that. So they're not going to show you the things that are going to save you money. They're going to show you the things that are overpriced and that probably you don't want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, definitely. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, London. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we had Deborah White, and I did not forget about you. So go ahead, Deborah, with your question.
Hi, Cortez. Hi, Michaela.
Hey,
Hi.
Deborah.
I've been having a difficult time. I've been trying to get back and find a place, but I'm getting a lot of resistance from my family, and I'm in my 70s. And I've had some health issues. And I guess my question this time is, do you know anything about TRICARE for retired, or where I can get health care where I think it could be affordable? Because if I don't want to try to convince them, but I guess I'm trying to convince myself, because they did have to, 6 years ago, while I was in Ecuador, I did have, I guess due to the altitude, I did have a health issue, and they came and got me. So now they're just up in arms, not wanting me to come back to Merida. So I think I just need some information as far as where I can get doctor's care.
Okay. So let me ask you, so you get TRICARE because you're a veteran or you're a spouse of a veteran?
Oh, no, I'm a retired veteran.
Okay, okay. There's a veteran service organization here in Merida that what they would do is they have a group of doctors, clinics, urgent cares, and a hospital that they participate with. I think it's Star Medica. Basically, you'll get all your care through them, and they will actually bill TRICARE for you so that you don't have to worry about that. And it's not like you have to have that money up front.
Okay.
Now, if you choose to maybe not want to go through them or use them. Okay, so I'm a veteran as well, and I don't even bother with a lot of that stuff. I have a pre-existing condition. I had a blood clot many years ago, and I'm on blood thinners for life. So I have to go sometime every other week, but at least once a month to go get my blood drawn to check my levels. I just go to the clinic. It costs me maybe about $8 to get my blood drawn. And my medication refills, you don't even need a prescription. You just walk in the pharmacy, tell them you want your warfarin. It is about $6 a bottle. So little things like that, I would just go ahead and pay up front if it's in your budget. I went to urgent care and it was like $11 at urgent care because I was having problems with the ear. My ear and my throat were bothering me. So, but yeah, there is the veterans organization here that maybe some veterans got together and put it together, and they have a comprehensive little system here with the urgent care, the pharmacy, and a lot of doctors will come to your home. They'll send the lab to your home. They'll send the x-ray and the ultrasound to your home, and the pharmacies will deliver. So, all that stuff is very affordable. Now, I'm not going to say that you may have to try different people till you find the right fit, but that's even in the US. You have a doctor that you go to and you just don't like that doctor. And you go until you find a good, place. I love the lab that I go to. They know me, I know them, and I know their procedures. And so they know what I'm coming for, and everything goes smoothly. So I'm going to stay with them, even though it's a little further for me to go than the one right down the street. So, there is options for you to have your health care. I understand what your family's concerns are. Now, what I will say, I had to call an ambulance. I had COVID. I didn't know that at the time, but I had COVID. But I have respiratory issues, and I was very afraid that I was going to really have some breathing problems. So I called my security booth and asked them to call me an ambulance. My fear has always been I'm going to be dead in the house for 2 weeks and they're not going to know it. So living alone, you may want, and especially being older and having health conditions, you want to make sure that you get a community that's going to check on you. People that, I know your family, or even if your family were to say, I haven't talked to her in 2 days, I'm concerned. They need phone numbers so they can call and say, hey, go over there and knock on her door. Make sure she's okay. Or a friend here in Merida, hey, I don't want nothing. I'm just checking on you, see if you're okay. The same thing with if you live in a building, apartment building, or a complex that has a security booth, let them know I live alone. And, if you don't see me maybe come by and knock on the door, see if I'm okay, or something like that if you don't see me in a while. So you're going to want to make sure that you have some type of community set up so that people look after you. And so you don't want to be somewhere that's way off in the cut. You want to kind of be somewhere where there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And even if you have to holler out your window, help, because you fail and you can't get up, at least somebody gonna hear you. At my house, nobody gonna hear me except for the tarantulas. So yeah, you want to be somewhere where you can get some help. If you're banging on a wall or banging on a door because you need help, but you can't say it or nobody's hearing you, there's ways around everything.
Okay, because Cortez and I had already talked, and I was coming back, and then I just started getting instant flack. I mean, really bad, because they kept saying your age. I can die. I don't mind. I can die in Mexico just as well as I can die here.
Yeah.
So, but that was my concern: is would I be able to get medical, or if I had an emergency, would I be able to go to the hospital? Because I did get my residency, as Cortez knows, the last time I was there in November. So, okay.
Yeah, and there's a lady that we met a couple of days ago. Her and her sister were moving down here. She's 80 years old, and was in her 70s. I'm sorry. And it's like I say, and there's a guy here that we met who's 86, who's living down here by himself. So there's a lot of folks, and there's a lot of, and I'm surprised there's a lot more older people that are moving here, mainly for, again, quality of life and affordability. And they just want to live out the rest of their day. They're coming here with the expectation that this is where I want to pass. This is to be my last place. And they're making plans, and they're they're enjoying the remaining of their life. In fact, matter of fact, the house that you were looking at, she's in the same neighborhood. Matter of fact, it's 2 doors down from the house you were looking at getting. So she's actually in the same 2 doors down from the house we were looking at. So, but family members, man, they're gonna talk you out of it. And like you say, you can die in the U.S., you can die in Mexico. It's all the same. And I think if you're looking for your money to stretch, better quality of life, and want to have an adventure, this is a great place to do that. I don't think you'll be missing out on anything. Family members are going to try and talk you out of it, no matter what.
Well, that's what they did. You met them, but
I met them. And I could from when I met them, and I can see how they would try and talk you out of it. There's over 1 million Americans living in Mexico permanently. And it's a very, very safe place. If this is something you want to do, I will push through it and go for it. You know what I mean? I think you're Navy, right? Retired Navy?
I'm retired Navy, yes.
Okay. So
I was Army first, and then I transferred over to the Navy. I retired from the Navy.
Okay. So, you're used to traveling. It's going to be the same. You'll enjoy it here. Try and tune them out as much as you can. They're gonna try and talk you out of it. And but you've done the research. You've actually been here. It really is what it is.
What a lot of people don't realize, or they're not really advertising that much, but I'm sure they will, is retirement communities are starting to become more popular in Mexico, and even in Merida, like almost like the 55 and over type thing, but for people not necessarily assisted living, but independent living, but also may have assisted living there, to where, they'll have, if you choose, they'll have meals, they'll have activities, things like that, but more of an independent setting. Now, sometimes, even though they're a little pricier than like your own place, they're nowhere near priced like the US.
Yeah.
So that could always be an option to look into that. There's a video online. It's a assisted living, but it's in Lake Chapala or Ajijica.
I saw that.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah. And they entered and they showed the rooms and they interviewed the people, and a bunch of older Caucasian ladies. But they didn't let being old stop them.
Yeah, exactly.
They left the US and came, and and then you can always tell your family to rest assured, you can always have a caregiver, not a companion. You can have a Mexican lady come a couple hours or a day just to sit with you, help you do things, run errands, if things got to that point.
Okay.
For cheap.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Cortez.
You're welcome.
I'll be in contact.
Okay.
And we're going to be wrapping up here soon in the next 15 minutes. So I see that we have 2 more people with questions. So guys, if you have questions, please raise your hand and get your questions answered, because we will be shutting this down in the next 15 minutes. Iris, go ahead with your question.
Have a quick one. Yes,
sure,
it's about taxes. As a veteran, Malikah, are you responsible for having to pay taxes? I know that the government, I'm a veteran as well. So income taxes.
You don't pay in the US, you don't pay income tax unless it's retirement pay. If it's disability, you don't pay tax on it. Retirement pay, anybody who lives outside the US, unfortunately, US has tax laws that you need to file tax returns in the US.
Okay, but for disability, like you said, disability with the veteran, okay, thank you.
Don't pay taxes on that.
Awesome, yep.
Okay, next is Heather.
Yeah, Cortez, I just wanted to
Heather,
follow
okay, there you go.
up.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We had a conversation about this, and I just want to follow up because I found an answer. We talked about okay, so I have a chronic illness, so I have Blue Cross Blue Shield that I'm going to keep with me because it travels globally with me. But we talked about what they would cover. So if you go to, I think it's Star Med, I mean, for the big things, not only will it cover your visits and everything, just like you're here in the States, in or out of network, they also cover emergency room. So
Okay.
for anyone who wants to do slow travel, go around the world, and if you have to pop back to United States, if you can, and you're going to keep insurance in the US, Star Med has an arrangement just like this veterans group where they will do the claims for you. When you're in the emergency room, they do the claims, and Blue Cross Blue Shield or whoever has the arrangement will cover you, so you don't have to worry about breaking out that credit card for that $20,000 thing if you have like a heart problem or something like that. So
Nice.
it's really easy. Don't just drop your American coverage because it's cheaper in Mexico. In Mexico, I have, and you should go for colds and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely go to the regular doctors. They do a great job. But if you're going to keep your American medical insurance and you're going to travel around the world, they will actually get you out of the emergency room without without money out of your pocket. They'll come back to you with your copay, but that's it.
And that's good to know. That's good to mention because getting a health plan in Mexico, if you have pre-existing conditions, they will exclude you for periods. I just looked at a plan the other day and they have a category, like category A are these type of conditions, you're excluded for 6 months, category B, 12 months, category C, 18 months. So it depends on what the illness is, how long you're excluded. But yeah, you'll definitely want to check into those because they are all going to exclude pre-existing for some time.
Absolutely. Great information. Thank you for sharing.
Great.
I also posted a link or a phone number in the comments.
Pepsi said Faro also does the Blue Cross thing.
Yeah, Faro does.
And
Amex Care or Amex Care, her name is Liz. You can also send her a message via WhatsApp. She speaks English. Just reach out to her, send her your insurance information, and she will verify whether or not the hospital will accept your insurance and deal with all the billing and stuff like that. When I had my surgery at Faro Hospital, when I was admitted into the emergency room, they covered my surgery, and I had Cigna. So Cigna was another plan. So it seems like the major insurance carriers, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna. I know Liz indicated that they take Aetna. Exactly. Exactly. So, reach out to Liz at Amex Care. They have a website, amexcare.com, I believe.
I think United Healthcare also has.
I believe they do. I believe they do. Yeah. So yeah, contact her and she'll look into it for you. Kim has posted Malikah's channel.
She said United Healthcare at Faro.
United Healthcare. Okay, perfect.
So don't get rid of your U.S. insurance if you can hold on to it.
Yes, keep it.
Or if you can COBRA into working into an individual policy if you're leaving a job or something.
Exactly.
Go ahead. While we're talking about it, make sure you check because the Mexican temporary residency requirements are changing for 2024. Currently, if you need a lower income amount, New Orleans is the cheapest. Some of the others have significantly raised the minimum amount you need to qualify income-wise for, especially McAllen, which was the lowest before. They shot up big time. New Orleans is the cheapest at the moment. You can go on YouTube. There's a couple content creators that have made videos detailing every single location, consulate, and the requirements. So just wanted to make note of that.
Okay. So yeah, man, this has been a wonderful chat. I think that I personally think this is probably the best interview. I think it was awesome.
Of course it was. It's me.
It's you.
I knew that ahead of time. I think
I have to agree, Malikah. I have to agree. So before we go, I do want to give a few people a last chance for like any questions that you may have. If you don't, then we will wrap things up.
So while we're waiting for y'all to show up, while we're waiting for you to ask, I'm gonna say this, for some of y'all, it's time to stop planning and it's time to start going. Y'all planned long enough, you got all the data, you got all the research, now it's just time to go, to check it out. You know what I mean? Come do an exploratory trip. That's gonna be the best thing for you. Come for 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks. It's just time to go. There's not going to be, it's not enough planning. You just got to come and check it out. You know what I mean? And it's a 2 to 3 hour flight. If it's not what you think it is, you can go somewhere else and don't give up. There's a place for you in the world. You just got to dig and do the research. So you've done enough planning. Now it's just time to go check it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would encourage y'all to do.
Got to take the leap at some point in time. Otherwise, you just be planning and still be where you at.
Exactly. Anything you got? Any fun? Malikah's channel is in the comment section. Her YouTube channel, Malikah on the Move. I'll email that to you all. I'll also post this in the members area as well. A link to her channel directly. Any other ways people to reach out to you? Is that the primary way through your channel?
Yeah, I have a little Instagram, but I really don't post on there. In my YouTube description, there's a link for my email. You can always send me an email. And because I don't work, my days are primarily free. So if anybody's coming for an exploratory trip, or if you live here and you want to go to lunch or something, fine. But if you're coming for an exploratory trip, I may or may not, I'm not a last minute person whatsoever, but I may or may not be available to meet you. We can have lunch, brunch, or whatever, and I can answer some questions. Now, of course, I'm not going to just like do a whole car test or nothing like that. But no, I'm more than willing to meet up with people face to face, and we are planning in March sometime to do a YouTube content creator and subscriber meetup in the future. So we will let people know when we have this central location where you can come and meet as many Merida YouTube content creators that show up and network with different people and meet different people, and it'll be a nice little thing.
Yeah. So, y'all, this is your year, man. 2024. I know a lot of folks nervous about the election coming up in the States and saying they will be fleeing the States. I mean, this is the year to make the run for it, man. It's just like I say, just come check it out. I think 2 ways to get here. Some people fly in straight into Cancun to save money and then hop a 4-hour bus ride from Cancun to Merida. It's however you want to do it, or fly directly into Merida. A little more, but it might be more convenient. But if you're trying to save somebody, fly straight into Cancun and connect.
I was going to say, I have a video. If you have your temporary residency and you're flying into the country, don't matter where, into the country of Mexico, and you have your temporary or permanent residency, go back and watch my video on getting your money, because you can get a refund from the airline.
Hey, so check that out. I'll find the video and I'll post it in the members area as well. That way y'all go click and go straight to it. Any final? We about to go.
No, look. Tijuana said, Dr. Tijuana got their refund.
There you go. There you go.
I got mine too.
From Delta. So I think that is it. We appreciate y'all. If y'all have any questions, feel free to email.
Thank you, Heather.
Post in the members area if you like. If you need to book
Thank
a
you, Michael.
book a consultation, book a tour. We'll take you out on a 4-hour tour around the city.
Thank you, Lenore.
Book that if you're interested. I'm still, what else?
Peaceful Sister. Thank
Schedule
you.
early, book early because people are booking and reserving slots
Taylor,
months in
thank
advance.
you.
So definitely get on board if
Thank
you're
you,
looking
Cassandra. You keep talking. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you good. You good. You good.
You got to be able to multitask.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you,
nice,
Andrea.
nice.
Thank you, Dr. Tijuana.
Yes.
Elle, thank you.
I'm telling you, this is the best.
Bye, Mary.
Bye, everyone. Thank everyone for joining
Marla,
us tonight.
thank you.
And Mary, my
Chandra, thank
assistant
you.
will be following up with you tomorrow.
Okay.
Action
get more
Jackson, thank
details.
you.
Okay. It was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We had a blast. That went 3 hours. You know?
Was it? That
Yeah.
went by fast,
went
boy.
quick.
Thank you, Sandy.
So y'all have a good night. I'm gonna end this recording here.
Alicia, thank you.